Good morning. Jesse Kang of the Guam Ethics Commission joins us in the KUM News Link Zoom room. Well, Jesse, it's a good feeling having you on here, knowing that everything is up and running. I know that we're really on you. Well, when things are kind of getting, no pun intended, guys. When things are kind of getting set up, but I know we're talking a little bit before. But so you guys are up, running. People can file the complaints, and I guess my question is, have they been?
They definitely have been, and we've seen quite the number early on. I can report out that we've had maybe a dozen individuals that have already visited our offices and met with somebody, and we're kind of working with them through the process. The commission is expected to meet on Thursday, where they're going to hear the first 6 cases of the dozen that have visited us. So we're quite busy, but we take pride in the work and the type of things we're seeing. We really want to address and have the commission review and make sort of decisions as to whether or not there have been violations and if we could find answers for the people of Guam.
Jess, because I know that right when these complaints are filed, the actual process is it's a closed process, right? So when the board meets to discuss these different complaints, is that like during an executive session type of setting?
Interesting. So we're seeking guidance from the council. Executive session within the law is clearly defined that there are just a few things that can be discussed. We're describing it as confidential matters, where the commission will need to go into a closed door meeting to discuss the elements of the case and then make a decision whether or not to proceed with the investigation or dismiss.
Do you anticipate any? I mean, so in your opinion, according to your counsel, you guys are covered to have that closed door section of the meeting, and you're confident that there won't be any challenges to it?
Absolutely. The law has been rather clear that everything that is done within the commission is kept confidential. And I think primarily that's due to protecting both the rights of the individual that's accused and also the complainant. You'll find that some complainants actually prefer not to reveal their identity to the public, and we respect that. And so I think in order to promote fairness and the independence of an investigation, those things need to remain confidential.
Have you had anybody who comes in? I mean, just personally, right? So Guam Ethics Commission, I thought it was going to be way easier, I guess, to file a complaint, but I do understand why it is a tedious process, right? But have you had people come in who say, "Oh, I want to make a complaint," and then when they find out, how long it takes or exactly what they have to do, they say, "Okay, never mind."
We've had different types of individuals that come through the office. But I want to share that what has been a consistent sentiment is we've reached some folks that are at the end of the rope and are really confiding that they feel unheard and wanting to give up. And this office, I think, not surprisingly, has served as a little bit of hope for them that someone outside would be able to listen and actively do something to get to the bottom of the issue that they have. What we didn't anticipate at the beginning, but I think it's been more clear and evident lately, is our team also needs to go through things like grief counseling and suicide prevention training. Unfortunately, I think when individuals have those types of thoughts, it's a community effort to raise them out of it. And I figured, our office actually is unique in the sense that we need to go out there and not only try to adjudicate their complaint, but also get them help when they feel that way. So it has been overwhelming in that sense, but it's also been rewarding work because, when you haven't had something like that for the past 30 years and now that becomes available, you recognize the responsibility that you have and that you really want to do excellent work for the people of Guam. And so I really give kudos to the complainants who have stepped forward and their courage for wanting to make these complaints known to the commission, and also to the team. I couldn't do this alone, so if there's an opportunity, I really want to give a shout out to the small team that we do have here, because they've taken on these unique situations that no one has really made a playbook for, and they've taken it in stride. So They're probably listening right now, and I just want to take this moment to thank them and thank the people of Guam for believing in our office and coming forward.
Jess, you talked about staff undergoing suicide prevention training, grief counseling. Is that what kind of people you're getting to come in and file complaints? They're just so shook up or, damaged by maybe not being able to tell their story, or maybe they've told their story and they've been shut down, or, the victim of retribution. But that's what type of thing you're seeing, huh?
There are all sorts of situations. I mean, myself, it doesn't have to require me to think too far back, but I remember certain situations where I felt rather helpless. You see something that appears to be so unjust to you, and yet no one was willing to step in and make things right. And so I recognize that carries great responsibility, and our office will do everything it can to ensure a fair process for all parties, but also to continue to be this involved, this available to those in need and those that really would like some justice.
How are you able to say how far back any of the complaints that you've gotten are from?
We try to go within the statute of limitations for our law. So that is 3 years, going back to 2019 when the commission was first impaneled. So we know complaints are going back through 2019. Some are a little more recent. So they really run the gamut. It just depends. We've also met some individuals who those complaints may have gone past 2019. But what we've been trying to communicate to them is if we can prove that somehow the person that is being accused of a violation was withholding that information or otherwise did not make that information available, then perhaps the commission may still have an opportunity to adjudicate that issue since it wasn't discoverable until later.
Wow. What kind of dialogue have you been having? And so when you're talking about the board meeting to address these 6 complaints, has that process for those people who have initiated these complaints, does that mean that it's complete now that it's handed over to the board for review?
It's complete in the sense that it's gone through the review process within our office. And to walk you through it, if a complainant comes in with an appointment, they meet with 2 staff members. They listen to the story. They make sense of what exactly the complainant has issue with and who they have an issue with. And they put that all in a form and get the complainant to fill out the official complaint form. There will be 1 team member assigned to that case, and they conduct a thorough review of all the evidence presented, as well as basing that against the actual law that created the commission in order to determine if they recommend that the complainant move forward in the investigation process or be dismissed for lack of jurisdiction. When the staff complete their review process and the interview with the complainant, then that gets transmitted to my desk. So I do another review, and that's on all the facts presented and prepared by the team member, as well as all the statements collected from the complainant. And then I would have the opportunity to either concur with the staff recommendation or present a different recommendation. And then the next step will be having the board review both the staff and the executive director reports and making a decision whether to move forward with the process or to dismiss the matter.
Okay. And so dismissal of complaints, that lies solely with the board, but they could follow a recommendation from the staff and yourself?
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes the recommendation might be that whether or not our office is the most appropriate office to adjudicate their type of complaint, there might be other regulatory bodies that would be more appropriate, whether that's like the Contractors Licensing Board or the Civil Service Commission, to name 2 off the top of my head.
So the board hasn't met since the complaint process was officially open. So is it accurate to say that no complaints have been dismissed yet?
That's correct. So the board meets monthly. I think in the last board meeting was when the process was about close to being made available. And their next meeting will be this Thursday at 12 noon. So we'll be meeting virtually, and we do have a live stream on YouTube. So at least for every part leading prior to an active discussion of the cases, those will be open, and then the commission will have an opportunity to hear about the evidence and make a decision as to whether those cases move forward.
So we have really gone like Marianas Trench so deep with this whole the complaint process and everything. But something I saw in the media this morning was that the board will be meeting to discuss the recent how do you put it? Events?
Allegations?
Yeah, events.
Yep.
Can we go with the recent allegations at the Guam Visitors Bureau, their last board meeting, right? So. I just wasn't clear on, so I thought you only had complaints and processes, but the board can also make a determination that, oh, this looks like something we want to discuss and then discuss it?
They can. So there are two ways typically that a matter will be before the commission. The first will be when an individual comes from outside and presents themselves and says, I have a complaint that I want the commission to investigate. The other alternative would be when a commissioner finds an issue within the community that they wish to present to the full commission. And then by a vote of 5 members, the commissioners can then decide that they wish to pursue an investigation. So I did listen to the clip from their meeting. There were a few things that were being discussed, but I'll receive direction from our chairperson that they are interested in scheduling a meeting to discuss that matter specifically. So it won't be in this Thursday's meeting because our announcement went out already. We had to announce what would be on the agenda. And so that matter did not make it on our meeting agenda. So we're anticipating to meet the following week if we're able to get our agenda published in time.
Are you able to say what it was about the board meeting, maybe the recording that prompted this desire for review?
There were a few things, but particularly the commission is interested in identifying if all the required reportings and forms have been filed accordingly with the Guam Election Commission. If there are cases of conflicts of interest, those are matters of jurisdiction for the commission, and that I have a sense might be the direction the commission may take.
Right. I believe there was some confusion about whether or not the board has filed the required documents or whether they're even supposed to, right? Is that kind of the issue at stake?
It would be, it might be one or the other. I think additionally, there was a question as to whether or not the board might need to go through another ethics and government workshop. And of course, the commission is responsible for conducting those types of workshops. So if the commission believes that, them as well as other officials might need to go through another training, then they'll make that decision, and then I'll be in the position to carry out their wishes.
Yeah, that might be a good call. You know what I mean? Just in listening to that recording, be like, okay, hold on, everybody, time out. We're going to an ethics training right now, everybody.
Yeah. Well, I'll leave it up to them. Fortunately, I am in no position to make that decision or to say what the commission will eventually decide. We will be needing to present them with information, and then from there, we hope that the commissioners will have a decision in place that I can communicate out to those officials.
All right, Jesse. So board meeting is on Thursday, right?
That's correct.
And
for the complaints.
The commission
and
will
then
be...
we're scheduled another meeting. We're hopeful for next week, Wednesday, if we're able to get the announcement out in time. But I'll shoot you a message to share when that date is firmly scheduled.
So I know that you said that it was a closed door section of the meeting to discuss complaints. What about for this discussion on GVB, right? Would that also be a closed door session?
I don't know. I think I need to ask legal about that. I couldn't give you an answer right now, but we are actively reviewing the statute to determine if at least that early discussion will be open or if that also must be private.
Okay, Jess. Anything in closing?
No, I just want to really, again, thank the people of Guam and encourage if there are other individuals that have yet to make a complaint that have maybe felt conviction to, please visit our office or give us a call at 969-5625. we're here to hear from you, and we hope that we can do all that we can to adjudicate your claim and bring justice to those who have been wronged. And thank you also to government officials. Surely, we're going to be going around knocking on a few doors, asking for their cooperation as we investigate some matters. So we hope that we continue to receive their cooperation in our investigations.
Have you had any issues with cooperation?
Well, we haven't investigated much further past getting the complainant's evidence. So we'll see. Prior to, though, when we were doing ethics training, all agencies have been very supportive, very responsive to this office, and I do appreciate that. And I hope that that will continue. I suspect it probably will, even if the reason for our visit changes a little.
All right. Thank you, Jess.
Thanks, Chris. Stay safe.
You too, my friend. 7:53. Wow, pretty interesting stuff, huh, guys? Is the Guam Ethics Commission will have their first meeting Thursday, and they're going to be reviewing 6 complaints here. And it kind of sounds like the process is they have these complaints, and then the staff and the executive director kind of say, hey, yeah, it's something, or oh, I don't know, and then it goes to the board, and then they're like, okay, yeah, this is something, or maybe it's nothing. So it's going to be interesting to see. Interesting, though, that the statute of limitations is 3 years, and so Jess had said that they're kind of keeping